I just ran my fastest half marathon in under 2 hours. Here's how. I'm Jesse with Calasthetics. I just finished my first ever half marathon, and the goal was to do under 2 hours, specifically under an hour and 40 minutes, and I got it done in an hour 34 minutes and 45 seconds. Here's how. If you've been following Calasthetics for this past year, you'll know that I've ran a few marathons, done a couple trail races, 5Ks, 10Ks, but I've never really tackled the half marathon. Now, half marathon is one of the hardest races in the world. It's 13.1 miles or 21 kilometers. Now, in order to run it in under 2 hours, you need to keep about a 9-minute and 10-second pace. Again, that would be for 13.1 miles, which is a lot, okay? Let's start with the training regimen. So, since my last marathon, full marathon, 26.2 miles in April, I really just been focusing on getting 20 to 30 miles a week. Now, I'm not just running 20 to 30 miles a week. I'm also teaching PE all day, personal training clients, doing a running club at my school, working at a restaurant. So I'm getting 20 to 30,000 steps easily a day, easily. So that's over 12 miles. Now, for those training plans though, 4 of those runs a week or 3 of those runs a week are easy miles. Now, it's not zone 2 specific all the time, but it's easy enough so my body's not hurting me the rest of the day. So let's say I'm running 4 miles. I was trying to keep at 8:30 or 8:10 to 8:30 pace, just easy, nice and slow. Really wasn't trying to keep my heart rate. I was really trying to keep my heart rate under 155 beats per minute, which is roughly zone 2 for me. Sometimes it's zone 3, whatever. But I was really just trying to keep it nice and light for my heart to not go overboard. Another one of those runs a week was my tempo run, and for the first 3 months of my training plan, it was at about an 8-minute flat pace. So I'd run 1 mile nice and light at like a 9-minute mile per hour, and then my tempo would start at minute 12 or 13, and I would run for 1.5 miles hard, 8 minutes flat. Once I got to summer, I was starting to bring it down to 7:45 and eventually 7:30 and even faster than that, just to see how hard I can go for 1.5 miles. So it really wasn't up until August where I was really catching up to speed with other people. Luckily enough, that speed helped me complete my goal for my 10K as well, where I did it in under 45 minutes. If you haven't seen that video, I'll post the link in my bio so you can see me complete that too. After that, so I have my easy miles. I have 1 tempo run a week, and then I have my track workout. Track workouts I like to keep for my Sunday runs. They are pretty tough. It's not easy. It's not a Yasso 800, not as hard as those, but it is pretty difficult. It's either 8 to 10 laps around the track. So 400-meter sprints 10 times, 8 to 10 times with a 30-second break in between. Interval training is what a lot of runners call it. So the track workout. So first I would have my super shoes on, these Asics Metaspeed Edge Pairs. I think these are the best shoes I've ever had, especially for race day. I rarely ever practice in these after I did 30 miles practicing in them. Since then, these are only for game day because they're expensive. So what I would do is I'd run 8 to 10 laps around the track, and I'd start at a minute 45, which is about a 7-minute pace, and then I'd work my way down to about a minute 20 over the last 6 months, and it was super fast. Now, I'm not saying I would do a minute 20 for 8 laps, but at the last lap or the last 2 laps, I'd like to do sub 130, which would be 5 to 6 minutes per mile pace. That was super tough, but I knew it was helping me get faster and faster. So I have my easy runs, my tempo run, my track workout, and I really enjoy doing my long runs on a Saturday morning, especially when it's this beautiful weather. Typically, I'd stop at 7 miles or do a 10K, which is 6.2 miles. But I would sometimes go from 7 to 10, which is totally fine. I never had it affect me more than that. I thought that training plan for me was perfect. And of course, every now and then I would do a trail half marathon with my boy Steve, and we would run in the woods 13 miles or whatever crazy race he wanted to do that day, in which I truly think running in the trails helped with the endurance in my legs too, because I just felt so much stronger in my legs, and my mental was just so much better too. I just felt so confident during this half marathon. I was like, all right, I just ran in the woods, for 3 hours. I could run on the pavement for 2 hours easily. So that was the biggest training plan for me. It didn't happen in one day. It didn't happen in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It happened, over time. I would say 6 months, really, to get faster and faster. The last time I really tried my half marathon was probably in my marathon, and I did either 148 or 144 according to the watch. And before that, it was a 159. So there's nothing to be ashamed of when you're running a half marathon. Again, it is 13.1 miles. Crazy. So a big question I get is, do I work out? Yeah, I run a personal training business, Calasthetics, get moving, not only my running, but I'm trying to get people to work out too. So what I personally do is I do 2 workouts a week at least, an upper body day and a lower body day. And I try to do hypertrophy workouts to build muscle and strengthen my body, 8 to 12 reps, and sometimes I do more reps to build that cardio endurance in my legs, or muscular endurance I should say, in my arms as well. Because not only am I using my legs, I'm using my arms too when I'm running. So I always try to make sure that they're feeling good and they don't cramp up during the races. Foods again, 100 grams of protein a day, and that is usually more after I work out too, just so I can get my muscles to be rebuilt and the muscle tissues to repair for the race. Now let's talk about the tapering part of the run. So tapering means less and less runs as you get to race day. So 3 weeks out, I ran 50 miles in a week, which is definitely overdoing it, but I was just trying to be tough and make sure my legs had the endurance it needed for race day. If I were to do it again, I'd probably stick to 30 to 40 miles, but I think 50 was just good enough for me to stay tough and be cool and be calm for my race. 2 weeks out, I did 30 miles, which again was much lower than 50, and you could feel it in your legs that I needed to relax. 1 week out, I did 20 miles, and then the week of, I only did 7. Now the week of was a little rough for me. I just started working at a restaurant 2 weeks earlier, so I was getting about 30,000 steps a day, 20 to 30,000 steps a day, so my legs were really feeling tired. That Monday and Tuesday, I remember I had to go to the doctor. My asthma was really bad, and I was like, oh my God, my body's not doing good. I'm trying to listen to it. I'm listening to all these, people around me saying, just slow down, just slow down. I'm like, I can't, I got the race on Sunday. But I will say 7 to 10 miles is probably my sweet spot for the half marathon because I felt so much better. Race day, my asthma was fine, my legs felt good, I had enough pop in my legs and in these shoes to help me too, and I was able to run hard on that race day. So I would definitely start tapering 3 weeks out, just gradually get lower and lower, and the week of race week, or the week of your race, definitely stay between 7 to 10 miles if you're going for a half marathon. 10Ks, I think I did 20 miles before my 10K, maybe 15. And for a 5K, I haven't really done a full 5K yet, but I would probably stick to 10 to 20 miles as well. Let's talk about running gels. So I'm lucky enough to be kind of sponsored by the Feed, where they give me a $20 gift card and told me to buy their product, which I love, and I'm a Feed ambassador. They're the best website for all nutrition for anyone that's doing aerobic exercises. In this gel, there's tons of carbs and micronutrients along with electrolytes, and these are the best gels on the market. I love the Cis gels. Lemon lime is the best flavor, has all the nutrients I need to get me through the race. I personally took 4 of these during the race. I did not practice with 4 for a half marathon, but I have used multiple, especially when I do my crazy trail races. I take about 5. Some people don't take anything during the race, which I think is cool. I know my uncle doesn't, and I know a lot of runners I talk to don't take anything besides maybe some water and whatever's at the aid station. I think you should have a gel or something that you like to drink, like electrolytes, before and during the race, only because it helps replenish all your muscles and make sure you're getting all the nutrients you need in your body. When you're running 13.1 miles, you need a lot of calories and a lot of fuel for your body to stay at its best level. So I was taking 4 of these the whole time, and I felt great. I don't think I could have ran any faster. So I would definitely recommend getting the Cis gels from the Feed. So let's talk about the race. So you have to pick up your race bib in Manhattan, in New York City, which is really cool, which was an awesome experience. This is the 3rd time I was able to do that. However, if I'm going to Staten Island for my race and I don't live near Manhattan like me, I teach all week in Connecticut, it's kind of tough to pick up the race bib because you only can go that day before and pick it up, or at least I could have. And Manhattan and Staten Island are about an hour and a half away from each other, and it's kind of rough. I mean, it's a great experience the first time, but the 3rd time I was like, all right, how come I can't just get this at the race? Now, on the other hand, if you do want to go race day and pick up the bib, good luck to you, because you need to get there at least 90 minutes to an hour beforehand to get in that line to pick up your race bib. There was lines everywhere for everything. Water, bathrooms, metal detectors, bag checking. There were so many lines, and it's just overwhelming. So definitely try to go to New York City first to pick up your race bib. All right. After that, you got to know your trail or path that you're running on. So I was lucky enough that my cousins live in Staten Island, so I was able to sleep at their house, and I was able to check out the course the day before, or at least where the parking started. And I was like, oh wow, I can really get there early and I'm gonna have tons of time to park. No, I got there 35 minutes early and there was no parking. So definitely get there an hour and a half early or an hour early and find parking and just relax. It was unbelievable how there was no spots for me. I also think that you should know if there's metal detectors or bag checks and where those will be beforehand. I thought the race started as soon as I got there, so I was ready to run and just run down to the race and park my car and just run. No, you got to go through bag checks, metal detectors. There's other people for bathrooms. I didn't even see any of this stuff the day before, so I don't know if they built it that morning or what, but try to find out on their NYR website to see if they have those anywhere listed, if what they're going to have. But once the race starts, it's really not so bad because it breaks you up into groups. I was in Corral or Group A for this half marathon, and it was pretty nice because specifically I was in Group C, but it was after A, obviously ABC. But Group C still started at 8 a.m. So Group A went at 8 a.m. sharp. Group B started at 8:05, and we were at 8:07. So we were the third group, which wasn't nearly as long as the last race I did. My 10-kilometer race in Central Park, I started like 12 minutes into it, and I was like, wow, this is taking a long time. So don't overdo anything before your race starts. Make sure you get your warm-up mile in or your warm-up 2 miles. Some people like ripping their caffeinated gels before the race. I'm not into that because I don't want to lose that caffeinated buzz or whatever that feeling you might get from it. I barely drink the caffeine ones. I took about half of a citrus one for my race just because I was a little tired and I just needed it. But definitely know where you're supposed to be before the race starts. It says it right here at race bib, pick up A, B, or C, or D, or E, or F, and just find out where you're supposed to be because there was 10,000 people. That was the most amount of people I've ever seen for any race. I was not aware of the metal detectors or the baggage check. I really thought I was parking and running, so that was crazy. But let's get to the race start. So I'm feeling good. My mindset was good. I was excited for the race. I was putting in all this work the last 6 months. I was feeling confident, and my mindset was just like, all right, I'm gonna get moving the whole time. As you get to the starting line, and you're with your group, the person on the microphone's like, all right, 3 more minutes, 2 more minutes, and it's like, all right, it's coming down, and it's like, all right, don't go out too early. That's all I kept telling myself. I flew. I looked at my watch the first 0.5 miles and it was at 6.5 minutes. I was like, I'm going way too fast. So if there's any advice I can give you, start off slower. I then, went down to about 7:30 pace, which was great. And then I casually got faster and faster throughout the whole half marathon. But for the start of the race, definitely find your rhythm and make sure you have enough room to run. A lot of people don't find their stride, and I do feel bad for some of those people, but I also think you should run your own race. So if there's people next to you, try to avoid them. I had probably 50 people around me at once, so that's why I like going out fast early, but I did have to dial it back because it was going too quick. Other thing you need to realize at the beginning of the race is there's so much noise going on, so you really need to pay attention to when that person says to start or go, because you might miss your watch to start, and that always throws me off in prior races. Luckily for this one, my 13.1 was exact with the half marathon, but in my 10K, I was at 6.35. At my 12 mile, I was at my 12 mile race, I was at a 12.33, which is way more than 12 miles. So make sure you hit it as soon as you pass the starting line. Now, during the race, you're greeted with tens of thousands of fans. Everybody was so amazing, cheering you on. They were exciting. I got to see my uncle, which was great. It's incredible. The adrenaline is there the whole time. It's amazing. That's when you need us. But during the race is where you should start practicing how you're going to fuel yourself. So during this race, I did 4 gels. I didn't just do this that day. I was practicing with these months before, for a while. I was making sure my body was good and listening to it. I also brought some water with me, 8 ounces, and a little bit of Gatorade just for extra salt, but I didn't really drink any of that. But make sure during the race, you know what you have on you. You have your gels, you have your water, because not every race has aid stations. However, I was lucky that this one did, and whoever needed it, they were there to provide it. So my goal was to break an hour and 40 minutes, and I did break it with an hour and 45 seconds. Now, there was tons of times during the race where I thought, wow, I don't know if my feet are going to be able to handle this. My fastest I ever ran was 8 miles at a 7:30 to 7-minute pace. And, you know, all those thoughts start coming to you. However, race day and tempo runs are two different things. I know I have friends and colleagues that run their tempo run and their marathon time. For me, it's different. I think I just vibe off people and I just run quicker, which might be a bad thing, but I enjoy it. But when you're running with other people, they're just motivating you the whole time that you know you could push through it. Specifically at mile 10, I was like, wow, I don't know if my legs are gonna be able to handle it. I looked down at my watch, I was at a 6:55, and just the runners next to you are, while we're running up this giant hill at the Verrazano Bridge, we're just cheering each other on. They're just like, you got this, you got this. And you know, all I kept thinking was heel toe, hit the floor, and just keep, and of course, get moving. You know, but it was amazing hearing other runners cheer you on, especially in those dead spots during the race where there's not many people. Not only was I able to hit my goal of an hour and 40 minutes, but I was able to crush it by 6 minutes almost with an hour 34. So just make sure you stick to your plan. Have a nice training plan before you start running a half marathon. Know your diet and strength plan, and of course, get moving. Comment below what you want to see next. If you want a super shoe review video coming up next, an updated one, an updated cane shoe review video next, whatever it is that is fitness related, running related, whatever you want to see next, comment below and I'll try to make it happen. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and of course, get moving.